Hey guys, thanks for clicking on the video. Today we're going to be going over a skin texturing for Blender Makehuman characters, and it should look something like this. Please leave a like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's begin. To get started, we have our downloaded copy of our Makehuman file. I download in FBX, and if you download in FBX, this odd and bizarre thing happens. The skin, the eyebrows, the eyes, the hair, everything is downloaded with full metallic material and full roughness. It looks terrible. That's the first thing that we're going to go into fixing. We're going to fix a couple other things with the material along the way, so just follow along and you'll kind of see what I'm going to mess with. Let's start off with just her skin. You'll see over here metallics up all the way, roughness all the way. So obviously people aren't made out of metal. First, I just want you guys to see, if you do take down the metallic though, kind of a cool, this weirdly cool thing happens where it's just a metal woman and it's actually kind of cool looking, but that's not what we're going for. So roughness, we want roughly halfway. For metallic, people aren't made out of metal, sadly, and they don't look this dope, so we're going to take that down completely. We're also going to up the specular all the way, so just up the specular completely. Then scroll to the very bottom of that mesh that you're working on. I'm working on the skin. Change it to alpha hashed for all the settings. If you're an alpha hashed, it seems to be what these materials are meant for, so just make sure you change them to alpha hashed. Now let's go and fix everything else. Let's start with the eyes. We're going to bring the eyes metallic down all the way, and the roughness down all the way, specular up all the way. So you might notice our eyes seem to be a black hole abyss of death and hatred. So what we're gonna do, because for some reason it's in opaque instead of alpha hashed when you download it, just put in alpha hashed and that will fix your eye problem that you're having. So next, let's fix our eyelashes. So there's one thing different about the eyelashes. We are not going to turn the roughness all the way down. We kind of want them to be a little rough. Still turn your specular all the way up. And then, so these are the settings we want, except, yet again, alpha hashed. And that is a very immediate difference you can see with the eyelashes. Okay, and these eyebrows, I can see that we need to mess with it a little bit. So things are a little off because this is a Makehuman model, but we have edited it within Blender itself to make it look much better and a little bit more of a stylized look to it as well. So with that though, and with the edits we've done in the face, the eyebrows are a little off, so we might have to go into sculpt mode real fast and try and fix them just a hair. Back to layout, and there's still a little in there, but that should be okay. So now fix all the things we talked about. Specular up all the way, roughness down all the way, or sorry, metallic down all the way. Roughness, I think it's similar to our eyelashes. Don't quite take that down all the way. So then go to alpha hashed, and instantly huge difference. Looks much better. Looks more like eyelashes or eyebrows. And so now you're probably like, oh, what do we do with the hair? And I will show you. We just delete it. The hair does not sadly look that good in Makehuman. I have a hair tutorial that I show you how to actually make hair from scratch, and I will be doing that for this character as well. It can be a long process. So if you haven't already seen it, go check out the hair tutorial on Hobby Hunt. Also, I forgot to mention, you can learn how to model your own female body on Hobby Hunt as well. So check out the Makehuman/Blender Ultimate Character tutorial, part 1 and 2. Next thing that we're going to want to do, we want our character to not have this odd gloss she has to her skin. So now we're going to go back to our skin and we're going to go to our subsurface and we're going to change that to red. And we're going to go down here and we're going to click on refraction and translucency. We're going to turn up our subsurface. And you'll see it already looks much better. So here's it with no subsurface whatsoever. And here's it with just a little bit. So now, what to do with the skin next? Well, let's give it little bumps. So no, don't worry, we aren't going to mess with the mesh itself. We're going to go to our shading. And we're going to do some fancy shading to our mesh. So we're going to select our material. We're going to be messing kind of down here mostly. So we're going to want to usually replace their normal that they have, because it actually does help your characters slightly. We're going to add a Voronoi texture. Okay, now we're also going to add a float curve texture. And if you guys don't know the generals on how to search for different things in this mode, it's Shift A and then just type in what you're looking for in the search. So the next thing we're going to be doing is a bump. And then after that, a mix RGB. And we're going to turn this mix RGB to multiply. And we're going to plug everything in. So plug the value into height for the float curve and plug the distance into factor. And we're going to plug this color over here into the normal. I think I lied. So plug the distance into value. I think that's actually what you're supposed to do. Oh, yes. Do you see the vision? Okay, the tutorial's done. Just kidding. Okay, so now we've got to mess with some stuff because that looks hideous. So first thing we're going to do is make sure it's smooth F1. And so that already helps quite a bit. And then we're going to up the scale to, let's try 4,000. And so there you go. It's given us quite a bit of texture there. Let's tone it back a bit. So one way to tone it back is we're going to take our curve, and it doesn't have to be in an exact spot. Just lift it up so it's more of a curve there, and that'll help smooth some of our edges even more. And then what we're seeing here is just that the distance it is trying to do in our shading is too great. So it's making it look like we have massive crevices in the skin. So what we need to do is usually somewhere around 0.002 gets me there, but it might not get you, but usually that's close. And as you can see, we have a much better, highly detailed character. That is one of the biggest differences you can do. Even if you're far away, as long as you have your lights set to contact shadows, you can see the difference it makes with the skin texture. So the next thing we are going to do that will just help our character even more is we are literally going to double this. So I'm going to do Shift D, duplicate. I actually don't need this yet. And we just need all these other things that we have set. Plug that into your color. And again, make sure your mix is set to multiply. And you'll see that has messed with our mesh a lot. That's why we need to keep their normal map they have on Makehuman. So let's real quickly also do another mix RGB. And we're going to set this one to add. I'm going to drop this in, and I'm going to drop this in. And just give it a second to think over the changes. And there you have it. So we've got some of our bumps in our skin. Next, so we doubled this and then we added it again, but now we need to change the scale of 1, because right now it is literally just adding them on top of each other. We can't actually see a difference. So the pores look pretty fine here, so I'm going to try for something like 3,000. for these next pores. And it's very subtle, but now that has added more pores into the skin that are larger. So she's looking a little glossy to me. If that's what you want for your character, that's totally fine. But I'm going to actually adjust our material over here. The roughness, I'm just going to up just a smidge, not much. So a little over 0.5, or you can just do 0.5. But that looks a little bit more like normal skin to me right there. If you're doing a realistic character, you might just say, okay, I'm done. I am doing more of a stylized / realistic character, so I'm going to redo the skin so it looks, I guess, more immaculate and perfect. So I'm going to go over to our texture paint, and I need to save this as something new, because otherwise, whenever you download a Makehuman file, it will replace this file. And then you won't have your character's skin anymore. You'll have the Makehuman skin. So I need to save this as its own thing. So you see, all Makehuman files are named the same, so it just replaces that file. So I need to name this. Let's just do Makehuman character tutorial. And now we are just going to choose a tone that we think roughly looks like the skin tone we would want. And let's try like right there maybe. I'm going to up my radius a bit, and then I am just going to cover this entire thing. Let's make our radius even bigger, so this is a little bit of a faster process. So part of the reason I like to use the same Makehuman skin is because we still have these layouts. So now you can see our character. She still has pores, but she's looking a little flat now, which is okay because we're going to give her a little bit of color. So let's give the lips a little bit of color. I'm trying to decide how much fun I want to have today. Let's have some fun. Let's do like... Oh, would it be too weird to do blue? Okay, how about we compromise purple? We are going to have purple lips. And we're just going to have some fun with this character. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I kind of like the fun purple lips. So next, we're going to leave texture paint for just a second and go back to object mode. And we are going to hide her eyelashes. She looks like a monster without them, but we have to do it, sadly. When doing this, make sure you have your mirror x-axis enabled. So we're having fun with the purple. Let's see, is there another way to have some fun? Maybe, because black feels very safe, but would it just look terrible? Maybe just a darker purple. So I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to bring in our eyelashes. Okay, that looks okay. That looks pretty good. I feel like we need some different colors. I'm going to go back to texture paint. We're going to save. Make sure you save this often, because the files for your save on your Blender file and your texture paint file are not linked. So let's see. For now, I don't really know what I want to do for the makeup, so I'm going to skip over and let's give her a little bit of blush. So we're going to up our radius and down our strength to like hardly anything. One of the most important places also to give your skin a little extra oomph is your nose. So we are going to hit the nose. So one thing to watch out for when you're doing texture painting on your character is, let's say I paint right here. You will see that it does not paint perfectly around the mesh. It does the exact circle. I'm actually going to turn it up to a 1 so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to paint right here. Uh-oh. Be really careful when you're texture painting your character, because if you don't do it right and you don't notice something, you could have something like this happen and it would look very bad. So, alright, we're going to turn down our strength again to 1.7. I'm going to give her nose just a hair. And we should have a pretty nice looking nose now. It just kind of gives you a nice rosy look, and you could go super rosy, but for this character I just feel like darker, heavier tones are good, and it's kind of a weird character already with some fun paint. So what to do next? I say let's give the chin just a hint. Not much on the chin. But just give the chin a little touch of some texturing there. I think that was even too much. We're gonna go try for that. Let's make sure you save it. And this, especially, we're gonna do the forehead. The forehead does not need hardly any color. Just give it a very subtle hue, because you see how easy it is to do too much, and that doesn't look bad. I think I'm gonna soften it a little bit on the forehead. And I'm going to try and soften the cheeks a little bit more, because I think that was a little heavy on the cheeks. In case you have your ears exposed in any way for your character, that looks better, we need to touch up on the ears a bit. And all this stuff just helps your subsurface modifier look like it's working. Or not your subsurface modifier, I'm sorry, just your... you guys know what I mean. It just helps your subsurface scattering look better. Phew, sorry guys, that was rough. Okay, so now let's touch up our ears a little bit. So let's turn our radius down, and let's turn our strength up a hair. And let's just hit inside the ear. It's gonna be nice and red in there, so. And you guys can see I am not a very good ear sculptor. This looks like junk. but you know, guys, you can't really tell. And quite frankly, her ears will be covered. So you haters that comment on my ears, just you keep it shut. But everything else looks pretty good, so let's count our blessings. Let's soften in here quite a bit. And I think we need a little bit of redness right there, so I'm gonna add a little bit of just a touch. And that's looking pretty good. Let's soften it up. Okay. That looks all right. I'm actually going to touch up this even a little bit more by selecting our skin tone and just brush over a couple of areas that look a little too heavy. And there you go. More of a subtle look to it. I might even do that with the cheeks. There we go. Now, I think that's what the cheeks needed. The nose, I'm probably going to keep strong because I like the nose to look very rosy. Maybe it's a little too much. Let's see. And this one, it doesn't really matter if it bleeds through because that's the rest of the skin color. So don't be too stressed if this isn't perfect. Okay. I think that looks really good. Subtle. Very subtle. So next, I'm going to have some more fun with the lips, is what I just decided. We are going to do blue. We are doing it, but we're going to add like a fun line here. So let's up our strength to like 100%. And yeah, let's do, should I do a line on both or just one? I think just one. So unfortunately at this point, I am sorry to say that the makeup really got out of control. I went crazy, I did whatever I wanted, so we're just gonna call it here, guys. I don't want you to witness the shame of what I did with makeup. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was helpful. Check out this video to learn something new.